The witching hour, January 18th, 2026. Like, subscribe, share, comment. 'Cause you're beautiful and that's why. So today I did not pray out the witching hour. It is 1:43 p.m. and I just finished my prayers. My prayers went 2 hours and 48 minutes. A little longer than what I want, but to be honest, I was so irresponsible last night. And most of Sabbath, quite honestly. I played so many video games. I got my prayers in, but yeah, I just spent way too much time playing doggone video games. So I ended up going to sleep at, what time did I go to sleep? I'm going to sleep like 2 a.m. And really, if I'm awake at the time, generally speaking, I should really be trying to pray in the witching hour. Instead, I was all focused on trying to play video games. And I have a certain goal for a certain number of tokens I want to earn. And the Lord has not allowed me to reach that goal, but at least I'm no longer falling backward as much, meaning losing tokens. I just kind of earn and lose and earn and lose. Anyway, the Lord protects me phenomenally from all this targeting, you guys. And I'll tell you about that in a moment. But the reason a lot of TIs, they're not experiencing the radical protection of God from all his targeting the way I am. It's certainly not because I'm special or holy or anything. You know, in this world, I am trash, which is what this world considers anyone who is on welfare and in their 50s, or really any grown man who's on welfare. We're considered trash. And in the presence of God, I'm just like you or anybody else. I am but dust, ashes, and a wretch. And so, okay. And so anyway, it's not because there's anything special in me. However, I'm gonna preface this by saying that, so one, this series of videos goes out to TIs who are born again. That means born again believers are responsible for obeying all 66 books of the Bible. And so I'm about to give you all some scripture. I give you them in all of these videos. And please know, this is God's word. If you're a born again believer, you are responsible for keeping God's word, not just what you want and what you don't want. Like I used to be when I was in the gay lifestyle. Oh no, it's okay for 2 men and 2 women to get married, and that makes it okay. Where does it say that in the Bible? It doesn't. And so that's how a lot of people do with respect to what I'm about to say. So the scriptures I'm going to give you in no particular order are Matthew chapter 25, Malachi chapter 3, Isaiah chapter 58, Ezekiel 16, 48, 49, Psalms 41, verses 1 through 3. These scriptures tell you that if you are not paying your tithes and offerings, if you are not making sure this money goes to the poor, keeping in mind that 1 Timothy 6:8 says that if you have food and clothing, with these you are to be content. TIs have more than that. I've watched lots of TIs channels, and what they spend their money on includes, but is not limited to, eating out when eating in is cheaper, healthier, generally tastier, new clothes when the clothes that they have are perfectly fine, going out to Starbucks just so they can brag about going out to Starbucks and paying for their overpriced drinks, membership, subscriptions, cable, vacations, cruises, going out to the movies, etc. How are you not going to expect to be cursed by God when there are people starving to death all over the world? Like, they can't even get beans and rice, and y'all are spending money on this crap that you don't need to survive, and you know there are people who are starving to death, and it doesn't mean enough for you to do anything about it. Yeah, TIs do. Once in a blue moon, TI will help a homeless person, a homeless TI or something. That's a beautiful thing, but they're very inconsistent. And they'll go 6 months, a year, 18 months without helping anybody. You're supposed to pay your tithes and offerings every single time that you get money or resources. And that 10% of that is supposed to go to the poor. Every time. Not once in a blue moon. Not once a year. Not on Christmas and Thanksgiving. Every time you get resources. So that's why TIs are cursed. God's word says that. I gave you the scriptures. And Malachi chapter 3, Matthew chapter 25, Isaiah chapter 58, Ezekiel 16, 48, 49, Psalms 41, verses 1 through 3. Those are the scriptures. These scriptures tell you that if you are helping the poor and you're giving sacrificially, I'm talking about people who are homeless, starving children, you can sponsor through World Vision, etc. These scriptures tell you that God makes radical promises to you. And he actually tells you can test him. The only time we're allowed to test God is with tithes and offerings. Essentially, it's pay your tithes and offerings and see if I don't bless you. He may not bless you in the way you think, but he is going to bless you. He's going to give you what you truly need. Not the stuff that we spend money on, stuff that we just want and it's not really necessary. It's like me. Even though I only keep $50 a month after rent, tithes and offerings, I should say tithes and offerings, rent, and food, I keep $50. I don't spend $20 on whiskey. There's a place not far from me. You can get really cheap whiskey. And I mean, it's decent. And they had liter bottles for $6. What was it? $6.41 or something plus tax. So I would have spent about $20. Well, the Lord allowed me to drop all three of those bottles before I got them home. Why? Because I drink too much. It's not good for me. And I knew it wasn't because I was wasting money. Because generally speaking, if something bad happens to you economically, nothing happens to you that the Lord doesn't let happen to you. If the Lord wanted to protect you, he would. But generally speaking, it's because you're not giving enough to help other people. So God will let things happen to you materially that are not good. This is the first time anything happened to me materially that was not good in a long time. And it was clear to me, I've been drinking too much and I need to stop. And there's no better way for the Lord to make it stop than to just make me break all these bottles. They all happen to be glass bottles. So when the bag of them fell on the concrete on the sidewalk, all three of them broke open, just gushed out. And it was reminiscent to me of the days, and I didn't do this for very long, but I did do this. I was a gay prostitute and I hated it. It was disgusting, messing around with these old, unattractive, not just physically unattractive, but unattractive. Their personalities were not attractive either. Messing around with these old farts. And so my plan was to rob one of them because there were some bills that needed to be paid. And I thought, well, if I rob someone, that'll work. My life would have been destroyed. Apart from the Lord, I'm a total coward. If I wound up in prison, I very likely would have wound up being abused. Nowadays, the way the Lord has changed me, although I don't think I would ever be in prison, if I wound up in prison, I might wind up losing my life, but it would be fighting. I'll go down fighting. I won't be nobody's property. And when I fight, people will tell you, even though I no longer really identify as gay, people will tell you, usually gay men, they're too chicken to fight. But if they decide to fight, when they fight, it's so wild. The way they fight, they don't really know how to fight. So they'll fight like a wild banshee. And on occasion, a gay man will beat up a straight dude who actually knows how to fight because the gay dude has decided to fight back. And like I said, when we fight, it's crazy. And it's not just the gay thing, it's the Lord. Because remember, like I said, in LA, I had to fight two dudes at the same time. I was fighting one, and as soon as I punched him in the face, his homeboy ran in and then started punching me. And so now I'm trying to fight both of them. And that was the Lord. That had nothing to do with me being gay. But part of that attitude, once the Lord is in you, and I do think you could say, it's kind of associated with gay men. It's like, I'm going to fight you and I'm going to fight you. And if I'm not unconscious or dead, I'm not going to stop fighting. And that's what happened. And they ended up walking away because I wouldn't stop fighting. I couldn't get the best of them at the same time, but I wouldn't stop fighting. And one dude punched me in the face 6 times. As soon as he punched me in the face, I started kicking at him, and I ended up stomping his cell phone. I destroyed his cell phone. And so I didn't get any licks on him, but the Lord didn't let me get away without causing hardship to him. Anyway, but when I was driving down to LA, at this time I lived in Highland, which is outside of San Bernardino, California. The Lord allowed me to not put my radiator cap back on, and my car broke. It didn't just overheat. I forget, something cracked or whatever, and so the car was rendered useless. Fortunately, I had someone I could call that could pick me up because it broke down on the freeway. But the Lord allowed that car to break down like that to save my life. Because if I had done that, probably I would have gotten caught, and it would have been a nightmare. And I was going to enlist a couple of other dudes that were doing this kind of work as well, because I wasn't the only one that was doing it that didn't like doing it. And anyway, so likewise, I don't need to be drinking. So this was one of the rare times that the Lord has allowed my vehicle to break down, or excuse me, allow me to buy $20 worth of whiskey and then allow me to drop all of it. That's the first time that had happened. And it's to save me, because it's just a waste of time. I mean, typically it's like I'll have 6 servings. Okay, so that's too much. Really, a male my size shouldn't have more than 3 per day, max. So anyway, but rarely does anything happen to me economically. And if it does, I was humbling. I had to humble myself and say, okay, I know why the Lord has happened, because I'm drinking too much, and I just have to submit to His will, because I don't need to be drinking this much. I already know that. And that's how much I like to drink. I didn't want to drink less than that. So, but if you pay your tithes and offerings, the Lord will protect you, and He'll give you what you need. And TIs, you need peace of mind. You need to be able to go through all this targeting without it affecting you, without it stressing you out and having you anxious and all that. That's what you need. God's going to give you your needs, and that's how the Lord carries me through all this targeting. This targeting has very little to no effect on me. And I'm here to tell you, my prayers were almost 3 hours today, 2 hours, 48 minutes. And they were really working on my knee, you guys, with these DWs, that if the Lord was not shielding me from, my knee would be in so much pain right now. It'd probably be swollen. But just like with my feet, you guys, I used to hit my feet, and they still hit my feet sometimes with DWs. But for years, they would hit my feet. And eventually the Lord would really from the beginning, the Lord would shield me. But eventually they just started working up on my leg. And then I was reminded, even though it did become a little uncomfortable at some point, I was reminded how when they started hitting my knee really intensely, it would cause so much discomfort. And it'd be somewhat painful too, but it was just more of like when somebody scratches a chalkboard. If you're old enough to remember having chalkboards and the teacher couldn't get the class to be quiet, the teacher would just scratch the chalkboard and it'd be like, ugh, and it was just created great discomfort, but it wasn't physically painful. Well, it was like that when they hit my knee. And I would have to stretch. I'd have to do like this to my knee and clamp my knee closed and do all this stuff to try to release some of that pressure and that discomfort. And I realized, oh my gosh, it's been months and months since I've had to do that. Because the Lord doesn't let it build up enough discomfort for me to have to do that. Praise His holy name. And so God will shield you from this targeting, but you've got to bring yourself out from under the curse. You've got to start following God. You've got to start obeying Him with your tithes and offerings. And the other thing, of course, is tithing your time to Him. 10% of your day is 2 hours and 24 minutes. That's how much time should be spent in prayer and reading His Word. The Lord has not let me fail on either of these in about 3 years. And as the years have passed, life has just gotten better and better. This program cannot stand me telling you guys about how they put in all this work and all this effort to target me and to try to destroy me. And the Lord delivers me from all of it, and He brings all of it to nothing. And yet, when they go after me, and they go after me harder, the Lord just delivers me from it anyway. So the Lord will not allow them to take away my freedom to brag about how much He shields me from all this targeting, how much He reduces His targeting to almost nothing by letting them retaliate against me and target me harder so that now they can get me to shut up. Or maybe they get me to start complaining about the targeting. The Lord is not going to allow for that. He will not allow for that. So they can try to do whatever scheme, whatever plan, hit me with more DWs, more V2K, more fear vibrations, more whatever. And the Lord will deliver me from all of it, because that's what he always does. He will never let them shut me up. As long as I continue to pay tithes and offerings, as long as I continue to tithe my time to him, I will not be under the curse. And as a result, I will get to enjoy the wonderful protection of God. And I really do wish this on all TIs, because I'm here to tell you, God has an absolutely wonderful life for you in the midst of all this targeting, to the point where he'll bring you to the point where you're no longer obsessing about when's the targeting going to end. Because you know that with the life God has given you, you don't have anything to complain about. The protection that he provides for you. It's so great, it's so wonderful. Yeah, if it ended, I assume it would be even better, but I really don't have a rush for this program to end. I know it's going to end. Psalms 92:11, my eyes have seen the downfall of my enemies, my ears have heard the doom of my evil assailants. They can't stand me telling you guys this either, but I tell it to you anyway. They try to go after me, and the Lord shields me from all of it and delivers me from any grand scheme that they put out against me. They put many of them out against me. The Lord delivers me from all of them and doesn't let me get bent out of shape out of any of them. The Lord has shown me how this program is going to end. The Lord has shown me what's going to happen to the people who are participating in this program. Some of them, the chief handlers, they are going to be handcuffed to the front of their bodies, and they are going to be taken away by people in this vision that God gave me, appear to be government workers, accompanied by a sheriff, and they're going to be carried away almost like cattle. I know that's kind of offensive. I don't mean to try to talk mess to them, but they're going to be taken away in large vans. These vans are going to be like the size of minibuses. And they're going to be probably 15-seater vans. They'll have 7 or 8 government workers in them, and then they will probably fill up the entire van with chief handlers, and they'll all be handcuffed to the front of their body, and they will be taken away in these vans. These vans will be accompanied by a sheriff. And all the others, they're going to become like TIs. They're going to be monitored, surveilled. They will not be allowed to travel. They will not be allowed to leave the city in which they live. So they can forget about visiting family and that kind of stuff for the holidays or whatever. It will not be permitted. It will not be permitted. And they hate me telling you guys this, but I think that some of them who have been in this program a long time, they know that God's judgment is coming against them. You know, there's things that happen in this world that the deep state wants to cull the human population. This is conjecture, but I do believe that the Georgia Guidestones were the so-called globalist elites' efforts, and they call it through method of revelation, or by method of revelation, letting us know what they plan to do to us. They want to reduce the human population globally to 500 million people. That means you need to get rid of like 7.5 billion people. And they're doing that, you guys, through toxins they're putting in the air, through abortion, through transgendering, trying to transition children, because when you hit them, if you take off their body parts, they can't have children. And if you hit them with these hormones, they can't have children. They're doing it through the TI program, where a lot of people wind up unaliving themselves or unaliving other people. So they want to cull the human population. And when God allowed the Georgia Guidestones to be destroyed, he allowed them to be bombed, and the damage done to them was severe enough to where they just said, well, we got to tear these down. And they ended up tearing them down, because probably parts of them, of what remained, would fall on people. And so in the same way that nobody knows who put up the Guidestones, nobody knows who took the Guidestones down, nobody knows who destroyed them. But that was God's way of saying no. He will not allow the globalist elites, to actually move forward and cull the human population. And also, by the way, they want something that Whitney Webb refers to as neo-feudalism. They want to bring us back to the Dark Ages, where 85% of the population is living in complete and utter poverty, as little more than slaves. Neo-serfs, neo-feudalism is part of a neo-feudal system where they have control over everything. And that is what they want. They want total control over everything, these globalist so-called elites. They want total control over all of the food, the land, the water, the resources, the money, the military, the real estate, over all of our bodies, our lives, our minds, over our very thoughts. That's what all these mind control. MK, I don't know, they didn't use MC, but it's MK Ultra, MK Naomi. There's several different MK iterations, and it's mind control Ultra, mind control Naomi, and there's like 4 different ones of those. That's what mind control is. They want to be able to control your thoughts. For those of us who have the Lord will shield your mind to whatever extent he will shield your mind. And so they may know your thoughts through remote neural monitoring, brainwave patterning. They may know your thoughts to a certain degree, but it will never compare to what God knows. The Lord knows our thoughts even before we think them. And it's nothing to be afraid about, because God is going to deliver us from all of this. We are going to have, and I have no idea of this Minneapolis stuff that's going on with these blue states and blue cities and all the illegal, unethical, what they're doing, taking money that doesn't belong to them, and essentially giving it to illegals and illegal gangs, and then some of it's being sent overseas, and a lot of it's going into the Democrats. Ultimately, I don't know if this is going to end in what God has shown me. Is another thing the Lord showed me. We are going to have mass violence, chaos, anarchy, civil unrest, and upheaval. And then after that, it's going to get worse. Then it'll get better. But ultimately, it will end in the U.S. being on under martial law. And I know I've been saying this for years because I don't know when it's going to happen. Just like Jeremiah, he prophesied over and over that Jerusalem would be delivered over to the Babylonians, and it would be destroyed, and the temple would be destroyed. They didn't believe him. And it took longer. And just like with Jeremiah, sometimes I get a little impatient. I'm like, well, when's it going to happen? Because I'm here to tell you, TIs, the Lord already showed me this in a vision. I am convinced it is from the Lord. Our salvation is coming from Bear Country. It's coming from Bear Country. That is going to be what leads to the ending of the TI program. It's not going to come from this country. It's going to come from Bear Country. And I think it's going to come from them. Well, first of all, because the Lord showed me. And then my speculation, this is speculation as to why. They're so sick and tired of what our deep state has done and has been doing all over the world, particularly the CIA. Color revolutions, impoverishing people. They even, if you can imagine this, Russia's one of the most powerful nations on earth, and they try to take and replace Putin. Like, who are we to try to say, well, this country, we're going to put this leader in charge? We're the new Roman Empire. The Roman Empire is like the only empire that could do that, reach around the world and do these kind of stuff. But we weren't able to do it with Russia. And anyway, they're sick and tired of our deep state. And the TI program is only one of the deep state programs. But that's how it's going to end. And the people who have participated in this for so long, I know this program has gone on for decades, they're going to live to regret it. And they're going to look so not smart. They're going to look so not smart. All these people that surround you, that have, they have the apps that turn their phones into, essentially into DEWs, or that are, because I already know this for a fact, you guys. They can hit you guys with concentrated EMF radiation, and they can track you everywhere you go. It doesn't matter whether you have a cell phone or they don't need a cell phone to track you. And once they have you, these people can look on their app and know where you're at all times. Just like if you were on Google Maps and you can, my phone doesn't do it quite like this, but in the old days, there'd be a little blue dot that would show you where you are along your journey as you're trying to get from point A to point B. That's how they have you on their cell phones, you guys. That's why they come out of every corner. And they're going to do it whether you have a cell phone or not. They're not tracking your cell phone. They're tracking you. They're going to look so not smart when this program ends. And they're going to live to regret it. They really are. For those people who stop participating before the program ends, I don't know what's going to happen to them. If they're going to be judged as harshly. I know that just like with the Holocaust, there came a point where the Germans knew that they were going to lose. And so some of them try to befriend Jewish people and give them food and try to be friendly to them. It was not sincere, and these people wound up getting executed just the same. But for those, there's people who have stopped participating in the program and they have become TIs, and the targeting that they do against former agents of the TI program, oh my gosh, you guys, it's worse than what they do to us in general. Probably they'll be safe because they've no longer participated. They stopped participating in the program long before the program ended. But for those people who stop now, or they stop when they say, oh, something's happening crazy to our nation, and I know I'm not going to be participating in this program at all. It doesn't make any sense to do this now. Because I know probably their judgment is going to be the next thing to come. That's not going to save them. They're still going to be like, they themselves are going to be like TIs in many respects, meaning the government will be surveilling them and monitoring them and controlling them at all times, and particularly keeping them within the city in which they live, forbidding them for travel. That's a big thing. And for those who get handcuffed, I have no idea what will be their end. But I know that the registering and the stuff on them will be more. I don't know if that means they're going to go to prison or what, but they are going to be taken away handcuffed. And these people, they can't stand me telling you guys this. I don't tell it to you guys all the time, but I do tell it to you. And when they do, typically the targeting will go up. And what happens? My God, who is so far above them, his protection and his shielding me from the targeting will go up, and it won't be a big deal. He'll carry me through all of it. So whenever, the Lord allows it to come on my mind to share with you guys the judgment that's coming on these people, I share it. I don't sit here and think, oh, they're going to be targeting more. Yeah, they are, and God's going to be shielding me more. And it's not going to be a big deal. And they're going to have to hear what is coming for them. Dude upstairs, the gal over on that room, whoever they put on the other side of that wall, the other side of my apartment, which is different people, but particularly those who are specifically assigned to me, probably she will be taken away in handcuffs. Probably he will be taken away in handcuffs. I know it's the ones that are more involved in the program are going to be the ones taken away handcuffed. And probably I will be there to see it, and I'll do my best not to smile and gloat about it. But there are times coming, and they're targeting me or we're going to make him pay. Let's hit him with this, that, and the other. The Lord has showed me from all of it. The Lord will never let me not be able to tell whatever prophecy he gives me to give. I am a prophet, so I'm going to give you the prophecies. And the Lord will never allow them to take away my freedom. Why? Because I pay tithes and offerings. And that means the freedom to speak and to put out there, to the best of my ability and discretion, right? What is coming for them. Because I pay tithes and offerings, and God's word says he will not hand you over to the will of your enemies. If their will is, let's silence him. Let's teach him a lesson, since he wants to try to preach against us. We're going to really make him suffer. We're going to target him twice as much, and we're going to shut him up. No, you won't shut me up, because the Lord will not deliver me over to their will. I send out my love to all y'all beautiful born again